So I've been spending the last few videos just kind of digging up some of the things that I've been processing and learning and thinking about during the pandemic. But it does all kind of come to the question of now what? Given everything that's happened and everything that I've been learning, what happens next? So I think a lot of people have been feeling this way, at least people that I've been talking to, but for sure, I want to take what I've been learning, the content of the previous few videos, and really bring it into whatever happens next. Part of that honestly has to do with pacing and understanding more about who I am and what's important to me, and knowing the kinds of projects and the kinds of collaborations that will fit me rather than just doing stuff because I'm creative and I'm supposed to be doing these things and this is my job. Really taking the time to decide for myself what I want, what it's gonna look like, and who do I want to be connected with along the way. As I speak right now, which again, spoilers, this is maybe like a few weeks before you're actually going to see this video because I'm going to be at a residency in May and I did these videos in advance. But as I look at things right now, there is some semblance of consistency with theater performances, but I do think everybody's still just kind of waiting with bated breath to see if another surge is going to happen. There are still productions that need to be canceled or that cancel a few performances due to COVID cases. So it's almost like we're needing to navigate this sense of consistency with this sense of unpredictability. And I don't think I'm alone in kind of having the stance of I'll believe it when I see it. So while there are a few things coming up for me, I am very reluctant to say that they are going to happen because so many things have been canceled. I am getting nearer and nearer to the beginning of a month-long residency that's going to be happening in May. And even then, even as I'm preparing for it, I am ready for that plan to change depending on what happens in the world. And in some ways it kind of sucks that that's the case, that we are now conditioned to not believe that a thing that's going to happen is going to happen. But on the other hand, there is a certain level of preparedness for when things go sideways. When things went awry during the pandemic, yes, I absolutely had breakdowns of, oh my gosh, I can't take more uncertainty and confusion. I realize by saying this I'm tempting fate, but I got practice with those muscles so that when the unpredictable thing happens, I at least have previous experience to maneuver that unpredictability. I'm just realizing I am asking for it by even saying that. Whatever. Do I believe in that stuff? I don't know. Superstitions. So that's a big part of what's next, is still feeling like I don't know. But if you want something more concrete, what's supposed to be happening for me is in May, I have this residency. And if you're watching the video now and everything's gone as planned, I am at the residency when this video premieres. And then my commissioned work is supposed to be getting some kind of workshop. So that includes The Adventures of Honey and Leon, commissioned by New York City Children's Theater, as well as my murder mystery musical titled Happy Pleasant Valley, commissioned by TheaterWorks. And there are a few other projects going on that aren't official enough for me to state with certainty here, but there's a few things going on, as well as I have also just enlisted the help of a dramaturg friend of mine, and I am meeting with her on a semi-regular basis to go through possible projects that aren't tied to a theater company, just to have some accountability. So I'm giving her bits and pieces of these early projects, and then we meet up and chat about it, and it's just a good dramaturgical conversation. And that part really came from me being frustrated on waiting for things to happen. At least I can schedule a dramaturgical phone call over Zoom or otherwise to talk about projects that aren't hanging in the balance of a theater company's ability to produce a workshop or a production. And then looking further ahead, I have a residency for August, which I'll share more about later, but right now I'm still reluctant to go all out and declare it because, because. So that's as far as I'm willing to actually state as concrete plans. But I do feel like, even as a contrast to a couple months ago, that I've gotten more used to a new rhythm of, okay, well, I will make my own stuff happen, which was hard to do during the pandemic. I wasn't really as motivated to make my own stuff happen because I didn't know when that stuff would happen. And now it's feeling a little more clearer that I can push for things to happen for myself. Alongside that, I'm still offering creative coaching sessions, and that, as I said before, has been nice and meaningful, a good way to feel like I'm helping people and being creative myself. And I have just started to go back to live theater. I just saw TheaterWorks' Gem of the Ocean, and that was surprising to me that I wanted to see it. I had been getting emails of shows opening, and I would open the emails and I just didn't feel motivated to go. I think I was just not in a place, not necessarily because I was scared of COVID, but just energetically or emotionally, I was like, I do not feel like sitting in a theater for some reason. I guess because I'm so used to sitting at home watching streaming media. But I was surprised that I actually wanted to go see Gem of the Ocean, and I'm really glad that I did. And I find myself actually wanting to see some more live theater. So let's see. I'm trying to take it moment by moment. I'm trying to flow, if you will. But yeah, I guess my hope level, if you could even measure it out, is the hope is a little bit more apparent than I would say even when I started doing these vlogs again, back at the beginning of March. I am finding myself feeling a little more hopeful right now. So trying to be careful because I don't want to be hurt by having too much optimism only to have it not turn out. But that's what I mean by kind of carrying these lessons about uncertainty and unpredictability with me moving forward. I feel like there's a lot more that I could say about finding myself during the pandemic and figuring out what it is I do and who I am. And I don't know. I think I will probably talk about those things, maybe not just now because I think I'm in the middle of still grasping it and learning it. But I do feel far more assured of who I am, what I'm about, than I did even before the pandemic. And that's been a gift, if a little bit sad and lonely at times, because it makes me possibly feel like I'm missing out on all these opportunities, but also realizing I don't need all those opportunities because I have the path that I want to go on. So yeah, I think this closes out my so-called Processing the Pandemic series, and I believe next time I have a video to share with you, it will be from my time at this residency I'm going on, knock on everything. And if not, then you'll probably get a video about disappointments. Well, thanks for watching, and as always, please let me know your thoughts, your experiences in the comments. I love reading them, and let me know if you think there's something else that might be worth me talking about in these videos. Hoping that this is meaningful and helpful for some, and if not, it's at least something for me to do. Okay, I will see you next time.